All right, welcome to How They Roll, episode 9, where we discuss Together We Roll, episode 9, parts 1 and 2, which is kind of exciting because really the game starts taking off at that point. I do puns. But today we have Derek, Eck, and Sparks. And of course, I'm here. I'm Mac, who plays Sunny, the confused sorcerer. So let's just jump right in with the episode 9, part 1, going to the magic shop. Derek used his suaveness. Tell us about that.
Well, it was more like an accident than suaveness, but...
Yeah, I was the accident because I said, I think he likes you.
So tell us.
Well, all I was trying to do was a cool maneuver on the horse. I wanted to do like a Legolas.
No, we're past that. Let's get to the point where you come back for the second time in episode 9, and you're using your suaveness to get a contract and all of that.
Well, I saw the sword and it's like, hey, well, I've got no money, so what? She's willing to do a contract? Okay, I'm in on this.
You did get the fact she was putting the moves.
Yes,
right?
I did. And Derek is that kind of character that he doesn't mind.
Good.
So
I don't think many would.
So you got the whole party a place to sell magical items?
Well, the contract is very loosely drawn up, so it just says that basically I'm to return with magic items for her to have the chance to buy first. And then, of course, she'll give us discounts on stuff that we buy from her.
What about that back room?
It was interesting, yes.
Yeah. I think we're going to have many more characters.
We'll see.
There are any magic shackles back there?
Who knows?
So if you guys are watching this, you've probably already seen episode 9, part 1, where they went to the magic shop, and we had a couple other character moments. Sonny got his new level 6 pet, and we all got on the boat, and then we had some crazy stuff go on. Davros did his thing. He's not here right now, but I'm sure Eck or Sparks could talk about that. Yeah. Where he went down to investigate and got recruited.
Where he was going to go feed the fish.
Right. That was rather interesting. Well, from being on the sideline, Eck. By the way, I'm wearing my shirt here, so if Eck forgets who he is, I can just look down. And
Speaking of which.
So, but Eck thought it very strange that someone would be paying 50 gold just to feed fish.
It's an honest question, specifically not to ask questions.
I don't know, it could have just been hazardous pay.
Well, remember, he knew the demon shark was there. And,
yeah,
I mean, in retrospect, if you knew all the facts before you went down there, maybe, well, Davros would probably still
yeah,
but
well, he's about to go down there.
I mean, it's dangerous, but 50 gold is 50 gold.
Mm-hmm.
So, up until this point, you've had probably the most character moments. You kind of
started with the backstory.
Yeah, the whole thing was your backstory. So this was one of those games where you got to kind of sit back and just
push the limelight around.
Yeah. So what was your favorite part of the episode?
Oh, that's a tough one. Part 1, part 2. Well, part 2 was completely just battle the entire time.
Yep.
But it was a cool battle.
That was.
It was. I call part 2. It may be holy shit, but that's the name of the episode. But I call it Derek's breakout moment, because that was really the first time we got to see the Dread Fighter Derek be all of that.
That's true.
True.
Yes, I was very happy with that because finally I got to do some acrobatics.
And took a stressful moment of the rail breaking and you going off the edge of the ship. Luckily, your foot's wrapped in ropes, which, by the way, Nicholas confided with me several days after the game and mentioned that he actually rolled behind screen but didn't call out loud what he was doing, and he faulted himself for that. But he said, I was actually rolling. He goes, I actually rolled to see if there was a rope there that you might get hooked on, and he called low, and he rolled a 1 on a D20. So
thank goodness.
He's like, that's why he said with such great confidence, he goes, yep, you're on a rope. but he didn't call out to. He
Well,
says, "I didn't tell you guys
That was very
how
gutsy.
strong of a thing that was." But
It was very gutsy to do something so flamboyant. Moments after the Hazel's anime moment, she took her staff and ran off, jumped off another thing, and swung her staff. I was yes, and then it was like
Yes!
no,
No!
yes. I thought that was interesting, and then so you flop under and you're out for a minute. We're worried you're gonna die. I mean that's.
Yeah, I was worried I was going to die too.
And then
if it wasn't for that rope, I probably would have.
imagine.
And said, goodbye.
40
So much for that
40
character.
mile an hour winds. You're like
Right.
hanging upside down.
And then the tide kind of changes with Barian's "You Ain't Getting Away" Beholder and Smush, which was beautiful. Flan got to eat.
That
Beholder.
wasn't beautiful. That was disgusting. Luckily, I didn't see it.
That to me
Eck
was
didn't see it.
fantastic.
Eck didn't see it.
No.
True.
Me and Eck were busy dealing with what's that thing called?
The other type of
Death
beholder,
kiss.
the
Yeah,
death
death
kiss.
kiss.
Yes, oh my gosh.
Which at that moment that they're dealing with him, the death kiss realizes its master is dead. So it was going to take its meal and go. It was giving him hugs. I don't know if you guys could see it in the words that were being said because we couldn't actually see it on the map. But the death kiss had wrapped around them and was electrocuting them.
Sucking our life force.
Yeah, it was
So,
it's pretty bad.
My
So
barbarian-
what were you feeling at that point?
I was going numb. Now, Eck was going numb and was just digging in and climbing on and doing what he, the primal thing of just biting. But the moment that I decided to do that, and the response that the creature gave back to me, I realized, oh no, I'm really in a bad. Eck is in a bad situation here. So. What I didn't hear as a player
And
was
this is
that,
very important. Listen to what he's saying, because around a table this happens.
yeah, what I didn't hear as a player, and so really unsure how it would have changed the game around. Luckily, things didn't happen where I very easily could have died. Didn't is that Hex was moved off of the Beholder, which had just been taken down by Barian himself, and he moved it over to the Death Kiss. Well, that's
on strength.
on strength, so it was a disadvantage on strength saving throws. And when he couldn't get out of it the first time of trying a strength saving throw, this guy with all the muscles, and I'm the same way, I thought, if he can't get out, I can't. I'm going to go ahead and just bite this thing. And then after I bit it, I went, that's not a good choice. I think I just screwed up. I personally was like, wow, this is not good. I made a
So
little
that's
play-
where you grab into the rail.
That's when I
Instead of
started
breaking away.
grabbing the rail because I knew the ship's moving, and all it's got to do is just hit the wind, get out of the bubble of air of wind around this thing, get out in the main wind, and I'm gone. And that's it.
So you, the viewers, may not be able to realize this unless you really pay attention to the setup. We're actually sitting around a very large table in a circle, so that when we're doing this, it may look like Eck is sitting a long way from Barian, but they're only like 3 feet apart. But situational awareness while we're playing, sometimes you're so focused on what you're doing that you don't hear what's going on around you. And that was one of those moments. We had 2 of those moments during that battle because Sonny didn't hear. Sonny thought you had been freed when he got broken free. So that's when Sonny hit the slow spell because he was doing mathematics in his head going, if that thing is slow and we're moving at 40 miles an hour, it's going away. Now, Barian wasn't too happy because, from my understanding, Barian wanted to kill them both. But my main focus was they need to go away.
And I don't know anything about the Death Kiss as far as a player goes, and the same thing for Eck. But I did know that whatever was happening where I was getting the necrotic damage, that the Death Kiss was getting regenerated somehow. So I knew any damage that I was doing to it was just feeding it recovery.
Recovering back
And so
up.
that's when I knew I'm really dead. So all I can do is either break out of this thing, which I know I can't because you couldn't, and then, which I probably could have, but, and then the other thing is use my strength to hold onto the rail and just hope the rail doesn't fail.
And then, from out of the blue, quite literally, the underneath blue, flies up
And
our
injects her.
swashbuckling fighter who, go ahead, tell him about it.
Oh,
It was amazing.
awesome moment. Yes.
Planned it.
To roll 25 and be able to do an awesome
Hero landing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. Just swing up from one side, under the boat, up and around, and back on.
That begs the question: do you plan it all out, or you just make it up as you go along?
No, but well, I was actually thinking of just climbing back up the rope and getting back on the deck. But
That'd be a long climb.
considering how much time we had before that death kiss was going to fly off the boat, and we had a player here in trouble that needed help. I didn't have time to do it, so the only thing is okay. Let's do an acrobatic move and hope I roll high enough to pull it off. The only thing I wish I had done was when I come up on that one side, I just wish I had thought to say he waves before he goes back down. That would have been a perfect.
That would have been classic.
Hi. Bye. Yes.
Now, if you remember the episode, that was a critical moment. I mean, absolute. If it hadn't gone, we probably would have lost Dak. So that
We almost lost what, 4 players on that battle?
At least 3.
Me, you fell off the ship.
Oh,
Hazel
okay.
almost
I fell off the ship.
And then Hazel almost threw herself off the
Hazel
ship.
almost fell off the ship.
Got
And
it
she
by
got a critical
just
fail,
one
right?
hand.
Yeah, she did the
Missed it by
anime.
that much.
So we almost lost 4 players on that battle.
And just so you know, I know there's been some comments that he's not killing people. I guarantee you, coming from me, the guy from the last campaign who died 4 times with 4 characters, he kills people.
It happens.
Yeah, it does happen.
Well, what were they saying?
funny
He
they
lost his first character in the first game.
Well,
What are you talking about? He's killing people.
Actually, the character lasted till episode 5.
Well,
yeah.
okay.
Till I
So-
got-
then you killed him.
So
Okay, yes.
character death is a reality, and right now we're thousands of feet in the air on a beautiful airship, and we want to talk about the airship for a minute because it's largely part of the dungeon master and ex-player and myself. We spent like a week working on that ship, getting it up and going. You can talk more about it.
Yeah, well, it was 3D printed on your 3D printers.
Yep.
Nicholas came to me when he actually had this project well underway with you to print all these things. You're probably first going, what am I printing all this stuff? Because it was all pieces, parts for a while. And then when he came to me, it was, hey, I need help painting this because I want to have it ready by the time that we play this episode. So that's where he shared with me the pieces, not necessarily what it looked like, but all the pieces. And this is what I need it painted like. And so I got this jumbo of pieces. So the good news was I really couldn't tell what I was painting.
So you didn't know
other than I
what
knew
you were
it was supposed to be. I'm like, it's probably the airship.
Well, no, you
know?
can put
Like literally, they come in pieces like this.
That's true. Yeah. So
Literally
that's a good
just
point.
pieces. So
So it's like essentially like a Dwarven
It's
Forge
like
concept.
it's like a wooden wall. Well, maybe it could be a cabin.
Well,
Maybe
and-
it could be a house in a medieval.
so by itself, it really didn't scream shit.
but when we put it together, it was pretty awesome the first time. And
Don't tear the part we do.
Well,
no, it's not important.
we have some footage that we'll be sharing.
Yes.
To give it that I took while we were in my dining room trying to put it together. But these guys, they went out. There was an investment in this. This is not just a cheap prop. They had to go out and buy paints and brushes, and there was extra things that we had to do just for this specific thing. And really, these guys, I can't paint. So watching these guys paint this, I mean, there's some fine detail on there. The railings and some other things that were really impressive. And it makes it easier for us to
all the
play.
hardware too. All those crates, obviously, you can't really see it here. Maybe I can do a snippet and show it.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to throw some
I'll
stuff
try
in
and cut in a snippet so we can show it here during this episode. I gotta try and find the episode here. I'm gonna raise my hand, and that way I can find the edit point. But anyway, we'll show it there. But all the crates and everything also were some were just purchased from many different places, and they were all just 3D printed or molded or whatever, but they weren't painted. So I needed to paint all those as well. All the accoutrements, the netting, the boxes, the crates, the barrels, all those things also needed to be painted as well, because it was pretty much a big gray blob.
Yeah,
So I had that in there.
and a lot of the pieces you will see in other episodes, the stairs, the doors, the flooring is all modular, which we'll be using in bar scenes later. I think the hardest part for me on it, besides the printing, was I knew what it looked like beforehand, and they hide these props before nobody got to see
Right.
it. Like it was revealed to
New.
most people right then and there.
Yeah, new to the players.
But it adds. So don't think that somebody's donated all this stuff to us and everything else. All of the stuff that you see in the regular ones, David and Nick have bought. Dwarven Forge. This I have to mention. The majority of this is a Masterworks Tools design that I did off the internet. So, but yeah, it was an amazing time, and there was a moment of panic several times when there were pieces missing or things like that. But we got it all done.
And I think it's going to be around in episode 10 at least for a little bit.
Yeah,
because we're not off the airship yet at the end of episode 9.
we left off.
So
we left off. Talk about that.
Where we leave off?
We left off at a very important point. We're talking diplomacy and reward, possibly. The princess was on one end.
Oh yes.
Yeah, we saved some
forgot about
people.
that.
We saved the ship.
With all the guards, where they just kind of shuffled back as the battle went on. This whole battle was what, 3 rounds? So
It was
12,
fast.
18 seconds.
It was fast.
really
Almost
fast.
4 player deaths in 18 seconds. That was bad.
Which you got. Eck went from puking and looking terrible to battle. Derek, you
Knocked out the
shine.
edge.
What about that moment down below?
That was a little scary, actually.
Oh.
I thought I was just chasing a character. I thought I was chasing some spy or something like that.
That hunched over man.
That hunched over man that had the bag or whatever. I'm thinking he might not be up to anything good, so I'm going to go down and double check.
Yep.
But then after a while, when I wasn't able to discern where they were, and then I'm seeing these tentacles coming out of boxes, and I'm trying to stealth and stay quiet. I wouldn't have wanted those creatures to find me down there with
So
just
what-
me by myself.
So what you're saying is you had a few holy ship moments.
yes.
Got
Here's
it.
the thing: is what does Eck do right at the end of episode 9, part 2? He's pissed off. He's still raging, and he runs down the rail and screams, looking for the monocle guy because he wants to bite his nuts off, and he's going down below.
Why is he mad at the monocle guy?
Well, that's who he thinks. That's who Eck thinks brought these things
Release
on.
the monsters out of the crates.
Because we were talking to Davros, and he was talking about how we saw the mermaid,
Yeah.
mermaid people.
And I
in
saw the
tubes.
monocle guy being this guy who's loading all the stuff on the ship. This is X two-dimensional brain here is going, I'm going to go bite some nuts off of the guy who brought all this crap on here. So I'm going down below decks. This is going to be an interesting start to put.
There's hope for the monocle guy because if you recall, in earlier episodes, Eck and Sunny didn't get along very well. So maybe they'll be new friends.
Yeah.
So in episode 9, you got Flan smashing stuff. You've got everybody's doing their thing. Did you feel like, I thought, and maybe we'll get your guys' comments, this was probably the first cohesive battle that we had as far as everybody knew their role and they were doing their thing, and other battles we kind
I
of
think
fumbled around a
so,
lot.
because the mountaintop one, not everybody was up in tip-top condition, plus we had several people on the brink of death on that one as well, from all the lightning strikes and everything.
Well, and you also have to think about, we're a new group. They're not going to know what everyone's abilities are, what they do, or how they fight. So it kind of works that we're all developing as just a whole cohesive team.
Exactly. We're getting used to each other's characters,
Yeah.
because this is all new, because we all have new characters. So.
But did you feel this battle was because
You know what? You're right. I have to agree. You have the. There wasn't like a worry about who's going to do what. It was like everyone started knowing the roles, and that's the whole thing about human team building. It's the same concept here with human team building, is we're experiencing as well in players. Pardon me, but I don't think Eck Eck hasn't done well as a barbarian. I think. I mean, he's gone down by a baby wyvern.
okay, well let's stop that.
Yeah.
Okay, now before you self-deprecate too much, that was a critical hit through your chest or something.
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
horrible.
No, well, those amazing
But-
rolls aside
but-
against my favor.
Eck isn't to us. Eck can hit. He's hit some stuff. We've seen him hit stuff. But Eck has had some other stuff that we're not sure about his background on, but he's healed people.
He's still soul searching still right now.
Right, but he's also healed people. He's not every barbarian is Conan, trademark to whoever. But not everybody is Conan. You may be a different kind of barbarian.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then maybe next battle you'll surprise us and lop off a head. Not everybody can be Derek flying under the ship.
Considering we don't have a cleric, I'm certainly glad that he is healing.
First off, the rope probably would have snapped because the one went snap. Or if it didn't snap, the whole ship would have went and then launched everyone off anyway from the weight of Ek hitting the bottom of that rope.
Or me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was kind of interesting with the Death Kiss. It was actually carrying two of the strongest and most heavy.
Oh, thank goodness! Because if we actually thought about this and said, okay, if it grabbed anyone but us two, okay, number one, hit points aside, strength aside, irrelevant.
That would have been bad.
All the lighter people,
Yep.
literally, it would have been just like, bye, you're gone.
Yeah.
No, I'm carrying 2 people and it's 350 pounds. No. You've got 2 people that weigh 700 or 900 pounds between the two of us. Almost 1,000 pounds between the two of us.
Did you get a chance to ask Nick throughout the week if you killed anybody with your puke?
That's right.
It would have froze and.
Oh.
Do we have to roll for that?
I don't think we're that high. We're only a few thousand feet above the ground.
3,000 feet is enough to freeze it, and
I don't think so.
it's cold.
Well, no, that was God. God was the one who was puking. Ek wasn't puking, God was. But in the sense, that's got to be pretty awful with the jaw, no jaw, puking. Ugh.
So
but no, I was
God's
chewing up
brother.
the rail because I was just clawing and chewing, biting on the rail as we're going up. Because Ek was like, oh, it's an airship, which means it'll raise in the air and we'll go fly. It was like a ship. Now, the player, David, knew we were going way up. I figured we're going up. But, I said, let's have Ek not realize this. He's never seen an airship before.
Nope. Well, and that was one of the flip side things. Varian and Sunny actually came to where they were from an airship, so they'd flown on one before.
And what makes it fun to role play? You're playing character knowledge, not player knowledge. And if you can be truthful to the character knowledge, it really helps in the story building, in my opinion.
In How We Roll, we really haven't talked about God too much. And I mean, God, it's part of your backstory, but you two.
No, actually, I don't know God's. No, you mean my backstory?
God.
God.
Your brother.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Your brother, God, is part of your backstory.
Yes. Yeah.
So you know more about God than anybody else, but you guys have you got to see God. He went with you, and he got the new instruments for the first time. That was kind of because you have a very poor background. Beyond poor, you were slaves.
Right. And I know what you mean, not a poor background story, a poor background
poor as they had no money, and he had his instruments before, a lot of them got ruined, and then he got his shopping trip, and you were with him, and you got to see the happiness of this character, of this NPC. But what is your impression, you guys, about it?
Honestly, I haven't actually had any real interaction with God, pretty much at all, actually.
That's weird.
Literally, the only interaction that I ever really remember of me with God is when I was going back to tell my mother that I couldn't bring my father back and I had burned him, and that whole debacle. And I was not really paying attention to him, and he just saw me, and I didn't say anything. And he was just kind of waiting for me to tell him what happened, and I felt like I just gave him a heart attack.
Yeah, that was a pretty significant interaction with.
That was the only real interaction I've ever had with him, but I haven't actually talked to God. So actually, we did something on the
not too
boat as
many people really talk.
They don't talk to him, but
they can't.
The animation that's in God from Nicholas,
it's awesome.
He's doing all the, he's just short of going 2
words. First word.
Yeah.
Did you get it? Did you get it?
Yeah. But
one of the things Ek knows that to get instruments, particularly of
quality.
Any quality, but it's just that was the thing that he loved. It was his escape. That was once, and he would also sing. He actually had an interesting chortle, and he would do these amazing ballad type things, and that I got to hear him. And it was my comfort to fall asleep to. But that was taken away. And then it was another crushing blow, literally, when in the tavern, you know, he doesn't have a jaw anymore, but at least he has his instruments. Then his instruments got taken away, all but one. And so to give that back to him, that was a big thing for Eck to be able to go, money, here. This is for you. You need to get your things back.
And
make you happy.
And as the watchers, never discount the importance of the NPCs. This particular NPC has a big part with Eck, but also he saved us. But if you noticed in the battle, he didn't do anything. The DM is making sure that he's not our savior on everything. He had a very plot point about his history, which was, if you noticed, the making of our documentation. But beyond that, he's not saving us. He's not casting heal spells or any of that kind of thing.
He's doing like inspiration, little things.
Little things, just little things, and that's what NPCs are for. You never want your NPC to overshine, but it's neat when you have that NPC that has that little part but can be so animated. I think that's kind of cool. Kudos to the DM who's standing off camera watching. So
he's emoting that his head's exploding.
yeah, his head's
He has a
exploding.
lot to
No, big headitis.
Oh.
Ego.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
What's the difference?
So
Oh, sorry.
So out of all the character moments leading up to this, you got kind of a love and a contract and a purpose beyond your normal purpose.
Right.
And
I'll be interested to see how that plays out.
you found the whole party offense, which I think that's usually a whole adventure on its own, finding somebody who will buy their magical items. So, and I'm guessing it's no questions asked is what I got. I wasn't there. I only heard about it.
Even though half the party was ready to kill me because I crashed into a window and cost them 500 gold.
No, we weren't ready. Now, I will speak as a player instead of as the host on this one.
Right.
Sonny was not wanting to kill you.
Right.
He was wanting to keep us all from getting killed.
Right.
So,
Speaking of which, that was really nice that me and Davros were able to just completely separate from the group, continue on.
That was classic.
that was,
Bye!
if you do what I do when I play Dungeons and Dragons, I remember the game as a movie in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And I just imagine those two just going,
Yeah.
and walking off. That was great. Not a lot for Davros in this last episode, but I really would like to get him into the seats to discuss some of his stuff because he's had some big character moments leading up to episode 9.
Yes, he has.
So I'm pretty sure we have more to come on the Davros front, and we had the first appearance of my puppy.
Sorry to interrupt, but we keep slaughtering his name. It's Davrus.
Davrus. Sorry,
Yes.
Davrus. That's part of Davrus.
Blue elf.
But it's so nice to say Davros.
I like Davrus.
Maybe he can change it.
maybe it's Davrus underwater and above ground.
Yes. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
It's a different title.
So, what did you guys think of the puppy?
Creepy.
I thought he was after your soul. I didn't know he was yours.
It's like some sort of
I was almost ready to attack it the next time it showed up because it's like, is this thing yours?
Well, there's an interesting Eck note to the puppy.
Yeah, well, okay, number one, I was at the magic shop when it first appeared, and it first appeared in game.
Crawled
so
out of my
I didn't
chest.
get to see that. I thought it was rather funny about the bird moment that I didn't get to see, the little skeleton bird that we don't know what that's about in the little park setting, if you will.
You come back and talk
and
about
then I come back and there's a bird that she's delivered to you. So shop owner has delivered to you. I'll get to my point here in a second. And I think it's the same bird, right? That, you know, you're talking about a skeleton bird, and I'm like, wow, that's a weird message. Because, you know, I think she must have sent a skeleton bird. But the only time that Eck got to see this
Fluffy.
wolfhound, Fluffy, was when he's on the deck, clinging on for all his life, and basically getting a small look about something crazy on top of this creature. So he doesn't even right now, game wise, Eck doesn't even realize it came from Sonny. So there's still another moment here whenever this happens in the next time where Sonny goes and injects this thing out of him.
Hellhound.
Shadow.
We'll see how Eck responds. Of course, I'm not going to allude to that right now because
Is it actually a hell?
It's actually a hellhound.
Oh.
so Anyway, so Eck has yet to see this. I don't know if there's any other characters that have yet to actually truly see it. I think most have.
No, I think everybody else.
Archie, you have. Well,
I think that
you
was
did.
the big moment that everybody saw it, right? Because was Derek?
Derek wasn't there. You saw it
Yeah.
as it came out on the ship because he goes,
Right.
"Go get him, Fluffy."
Right.
And Derek saw it, but you guys were already engaged.
Well, basically, when I was just sitting there, grappled by the death kiss, the various eyes were flashing. I'm just sitting there quiet, just calculating things and what my options are, because I don't want to go over the edge, because I'm not going to survive that fall. And I'm not going to be able to survive here very long, because this thing is literally pulling out the sound that I need to run.
Oh, by the way, a DM thing. Why we know it's death for us? Because we don't. Our DM and our players agree with this.
But there's two
Most of the players agree.
Most of
Little homebrew stuff.
is that some homebrew damage for falls because it maxes out at what 20d6.
It's 20d6.
That's what it maxes out.
Terminal velocity in Dungeons and Dragons is 20d6. So 20d6, if you take the mean
That's
on that,
200 feet.
is 20d6 is only
200 feet.
60.
no. I'm saying if you take 6 times 2, it's only like 100.
100. Oh, okay.
120 points of damage if you
So
cut it in half.
the mean
You're looking at
is
60 points. A lot of higher level characters, I'll jump off the spaceship and hit the ground. It doesn't matter.
We're not Master Chief. We can't survive a fall from orbit.
3,000 feet up. I don't care. I'm going to take 100 points of damage. At
I'll
most.
live.
I'll live.
So
Put the shoulder
just
back
backing
on
up a little, in the previous campaign, I didn't know that rule was different. And my druid actually survived the fall, but it was like,
After the nature of Earth Elemental.
yeah, he was an earth elemental, but he took 200 and something points of damage.
So he was like, you were like in that not this particular game, but in that discovery moment, you were kind of like the Hulk coming in Infinity War into the stairs and
Yeah, I mean, he got up and he was like, okay, I took some damage and I gotta heal myself. I'm a druid, it's okay. But that's a different game. You guys will never see that one. You only get to hear about it.
Although
but
recording of it might exist.
There may be some recordings, but
recording
that,
not in video, but recording in audio.
just so the audience knows, when we have all the snickers about dire wolves, that's because the previous campaign, the group was called the Dire Wolves.
Before we had the technology set up
Yeah.
to record for you. And we wish we could have shared those beautiful moments, but it was also inspirational. That Dire Wolf itself, with us as players, it was so inspirational. It's why we went through all the effort to put this together and share it with you, because we wanted to share outside of this room what we've been doing and the enjoyment we've been having with it. So,
Yeah, I joined the Dire Wolves about halfway through the campaign, and one of the things that I thought is that the Dungeon Master we have, you kind of get to see him being a little goofy sometimes and a little nervous on the camera, but really one of the best DMs I've ever played with, and I've been playing for 30 plus years, all of great. So we're lucky to have him. Maybe we can get him to step in for a second. Yep, get him to step in for a second.
I'll step up, guys.
Sure.
You can sit in the middle.
Take it out.
So
Hold on. I need to do this. Pull my ear real quick. Just let out the gas. Yeah, my head's a little too big right now.
Yeah, because we said nice things about it.
Jeez.
So share that moment that we talked about earlier in this How We Roll, where he'd fallen off and got his foot caught, and we saw you rolling.
Yes, and I need to do this, and I'm not used to doing this all the time. So yes, I rolled to see if the rope actually caught his foot, and I said low in my head, and I just did it right off the bat because I was a little nervous. I'm like, oh no, I'm killing his character. So I rolled to see. I'm like, so the story element, yes, there's a lot of rope on the ship, so it's very possible. Not likely, but it is possible for him to get caught. So I said low on a d20, and I rolled a 1. And I'm like, okay, you got lucky. Yeah. Still hurt, because it's not really bludgeoning damage as you're kind of getting hypertension and everything, but you got caught.
Was it a static rope or a dynamic rope?
It's hemp rope.
It's hemp rope.
So static.
Yeah. So ouchie, ouchie, ouchie.
No, it was not a bungee cord on a pirate or on this type of ship. No.
No stretch at all. Just flat.
Yeah.
Actually, it might have had a touch of stretch, but not
much.
enough to help you.
For like every 10 feet.
If anything else, it would have just built some more momentum.
But I rolled low, so you didn't. I mean, how much damage did you get from that? Not a lot, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, hopefully the leather armor would provide some protection. against
No.
rope burn.
Not from that.
No,
Well,
so-
it's not the rope
Well,
burn's the issue. It's not the rope burn that's the issue. It's the sudden stop
Yeah.
on your right leg is what
Exactly.
I mentioned.
It's not
No,
the
that's-
fall that kills you.
yeah,
It's
that's-
the sudden stop.
that's-
Basically,
That's right.
tomorrow, you're going to be sore all over.
Yeah, you're going to be walking funny. Your right leg's going to be longer than your left leg, and so it's going to be a little.
Noted
You're walking
for
like
character
that.
play for the next time we start up.
Okay, so for the people at home, the dragon was laying it on pretty thick.
Yes, and no, I will not kiss you in your life. You're married. I'm not going to do that to your wife.
And that's the only reason. See the reason he gives? Because he's married.
Yep. But yes, she was definitely smutting with you. Smitten.
She was smutting on him.
Smitten.
So,
Yeah.
we
Fortunately,
as
there's a problem.
we as
Very
the-
skewing, and
You were
We
cheesy
as-
as hell. And
That's right.
You were you're definitely being the dork in the room, and she kind of liked it. And then she told you to sign the contract.
we the viewers want to see what happens in that back room.
I will not go that far with all due respect.
No, we just want to know what that back room does.
Oh, the back room.
The back room that they were talking about.
I
Well,
have a feeling we're gonna
first of all,
find out
there's
soon
multiple
enough.
back rooms, as it is an alleyway.
the one special back room that she wants to spend
the
time with
special
him.
back room. Well, it's a comfortable room, to say the least. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
know
you don't have to tell us. I mean, we
No,
just want to hear it.
No, I definitely have the Matt Mercer approach of go to the fireplace. I definitely have that approach.
No, but there's something special about that room that will make it possible for them to be smut in.
I will not go that far with all due respect, but I will say that magic has led to a lot of
Yes, this is not an X-rated roleplay.
flexibility.
I just want to know the mechanics of the room. I don't care what they do.
he will not.
Mechanics of the room? I'll just say it's comfortable. How's that?
Ah.
'Cause I'm not going to spoil my secret. I'll tell you that. No.
Well, we tried. We
You-
tried for you.
He will not confirm nor deny such a statement.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, so let's
Thank
move.
you, Chris. Thank you, Chris.
Let's move to your labor of love. A whole week of painting the ship.
Yes, and thank you, David. Thank you, Matt.
David did.
Originally, when
Good
I
stuff.
had this idea 2 weeks ago, prior to the actual game, I knew it was going to be one hell of a push, but I brought it up with you to see if it was even plausible. You said yes. I went, okay, here we go. And I'm like, oh crap, that's a lot of pain. And then I'm like, David, actually, I didn't even ask yet. My father actually said, do you need assistance with this? I'm like, yes, I would love assistance with this. And but he wasn't really knowing how much he was biting.
He was getting himself into. And next thing you know, how it always
So
works.
after like
Sure.
20 plus man hours with all three of us just painting,
With your hands
not
covered in
even
red,
printed.
red, gold, and brown.
No, a lot of brown. It was a lot of it was brown because it was just painting all that with a tiny little brush.
Yeah, it was brown. That's
Yeah.
all I did. They did
Yeah.
all the really good stuff.
And then it was just minor trim work with David doing that as I pass it off to him. And then doing a black wash and a sponge treatment of a dark red. And that's it. Simple. It's not that hard.
Well, I don't
It's
want to
time
ask.
consuming.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to ask the
Doesn't matter.
DM too many questions on this episode because we want you to tune in and watch the rest of the episode because you have episode 10 coming up next week. And
Or for us,
Coming
it'll be
up,
seconds.
if our viewers are watching
yeah,
this when this comes out, episode 10, part 1 comes out tomorrow.
oh, tomorrow. There you go.
Thank you,
Because
Matt, the voice.
that was David. He's besides what David does that you get to see as player. He is our production manager for this, and we want to say thank you to Nate, who's taken over being our technology guy.
Because it's being a production manager, it takes a lot.
Yeah, it's very stressful.
I know this because I sat through with him on this, and I have to schedule things with him all the time, which is always fun.
And
Sorry?
A little cynical.
our DM, thank you, and the players, but most of all, thank you guys for watching us. This is How They Rolled episode 9, and keep on rolling.
Till next time, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye.